Angela Levin, as you know, is one of my absolute favourites. She was a regular on my GB News show, beloved by our audience. And what's so fascinating about her is that she is one of Britain's best journalists across a whole range of areas. But when it comes to the royal family, her reporting is second to none. She has written the books, literally, on Queen Camilla and Prince Harry, who she spent years following by the choice, interestingly, of the prince. So I absolutely trust Angela's royal reporting. She will tackle topics that very often the royal rota won't, because they're too scared, they're too woke. And just like with Calvin, I am absolutely delighted to say that Angela Levin is going to be joining us every single week on Outspoken to cover all of the big royal news. Angela, so good to have you here.
What lovely things you've said about me.
All true.
I'm
all
very
absolutely true.
embarrassed.
No, it's completely true. I absolutely rely and trust your reporting. I think it's been second to none over the past couple of years, and you have that fascinating insight as well. And goodness me, Angela, speaking of Prince Harry, the man who you did spend all of those years following, big controversy over the fact that ESPN has decided to give him a Pat Tillman Award. Now, if you don't know who Pat Tillman is, he was an absolutely inspiring American patriot who was one of their top NFL players and actually decided to leave behind his professional football career to go and fight in Afghanistan. This is after the 9/11 attacks. Very tragically, Angela, he lost his life. I mean, look at him, all-American hero, and he lost his life in a friendly fire incident. So this award that ESPN has created on his behalf is meant to be given to everyday heroes. Now, as soon as I saw that Harry was getting it, I was like, what? Why? What on earth is going on? But damningly for ABC and ESPN, they hadn't actually cleared this decision to give the award with Pat Tillman's mother. So Mary Tillman has spoken out about Harry receiving her son's award, and she has said, I am shocked as to why they would select such a controversial and divisive individual to receive the award. There are recipients that are far more fitting. There are individuals working in the veteran community that are doing tremendous things to assist veterans. These individuals do not have the money, resources, connections, or privilege that Prince Harry has. I feel that those types of individuals should be recognised. Angela Levin, what was ABC and ESPN thinking?
Yes, but I think it might not have been so much their fault as Harry and Meghan love to collect these sorts of things. Actually, they've done it twice before when I've been gasping. I'll just tell you quickly. One is a living legend of aviation for the contribution towards aviation. But this has been given to Harry. But really, he wasn't up to that standard. And people at the top of the military have said he was a helicopter gunner, and so were lots of other people. And he just didn't deserve that award. Now, the other one was by Kerry Kennedy, the daughter of Robert Kennedy. And that was for being able to attack the royal family for their shocking behavior about people who are black. Now, this is extraordinary because we've discovered that there was never anything like that within the royal family. But Harry hasn't given that award back either. I think they feel that both of them feel that it's a way of becoming popular, a way of people liking them better. But these are all things that actually they don't deserve to have, but grab because they think it will make them happier.
I know, but Angela, isn't it actually backfiring? Because every time they are given one of these awards that the public clearly understands they do not deserve, it actually makes them less popular.
Yes, but I think if you look back on how they behave, the same way as having paparazzi um, following them in New York, which they didn't for 2 hours, and which they didn't because you can't move more than an inch, half an hour there. They seem to walk over that or forget it or just wipe it out of their mind. It's very extraordinary. They don't feel guilty. They don't offer to try and help make it better. They just are not interested. It's on a different level to other people who would feel, gosh, I've got such a terrible conscience. They don't feel that way. Certainly not Meghan.
Well, I was going to say, did you pick that up as part of Prince Harry's personality when you were with him for all of that time writing your book? Or do you think this is something that has been introduced into his makeup since the relationship with Meghan Markle?
Yes, the latter. He was lovely. I adored him. I spent about 15 months with him, actually, and I thought he was terrific. He had sensitivity. He might not be academic, but he had a good understanding of people, and he could make some of these, particularly amongst ex-fighters who had been wounded mentally or physically. And actually, some of them said to me, because I would talk to them after Harry moved on, that he's given them the wish to live. He's only spoke to me for 5 minutes, they told me, but he's given me a real effort to live and get better. And I thought that was absolutely extraordinary. But that's all gone. I mean, this is a very different Harry we have now. He has the importance of always pleasing Meghan, despite the fact that she's quite a difficult person to please. And I think he feels guilty and lost and in a very bad state. You see him when they're out together and he looks incredibly unhappy. The thing about Harry that I noticed for all those months was the fact that you can read his face, that you can tell by his expressions what he really feels. You can't do that with everyone, but you can do that with Harry, and you know what he's feeling. And most of the time that he and Meghan are out at some glitzy place, he doesn't look happy at all about it.
So
I
why
think
do
he's
you
a
think he
very
stays
sad
in an
man.
unhappy marriage then?
Well, I think he fell in love with her straight away, and I think he still does love her and wants to please her. Maybe one day he'll suddenly go click. I realize that this is not for me, but at the moment he will do anything to please her, and that's his really important thing. And from that determination, a lot of his behavior towards the royal family, but between us and for us in the UK, how he wants to take as many people as he can to the courts and complain and make money. I think all that is a result of trying to prove to Meghan that he deserves her. We can see that he's not the leader because he follows her behind like a sort of servant, old-fashioned servant, and it's incredibly sad to see.
So she's sort of emasculated him almost.
I would say so.
Yeah. The thing about the Pat Tillman Award, Angela, is it was released specifically on a day where Harry was facing bombshell revelations in the High Court in London. Now, of course, this is over his ongoing civil action against News Group Newspapers, the publisher of the Sun newspaper, who he claims hacked his phone. This case is fraught with issues because it's way past the time when he was meant to have brought the case and all of that sort of thing. But it's part of his war on the media, Angela, led by his lawyer, who we just saw there with him, David Sherborne, who also represents the likes of Elton John. But the problem is, if you go ahead with civil action like this, you are also on trial. You have to be whiter than white. And what emerged during this hearing via the lawyer for NGN is that Prince Harry appears to have been anything other than whiter than white, Angela. He has been accused now by NGN's lawyer of deleting vast swaths of evidence. The judge seems incredibly unhappy about it. And by the way, Angela, it includes all of the messages that he swapped on Signal with the ghostwriter of Spare. So do you think that potentially Harry is instituting some sort of cover-up here?
Well, two things really. I'll get onto that in 1 second. The thing is that he has got a determination that he's going to carry through his life, he says, to change the way that the people in the UK use newspapers and television and all that. He thinks it's wrong and he has to try and wipe it out. It's no longer his business, of course, living 5,500 miles away, but that's one of his great aims of his life, he's said. Now, the second thing is, I think that this is part of it, to try and blame people and one way of earning money. He owes over 600,000, I think, at the moment, but it could easily go up to 1 million that he has to pay in for losing these high court attempts, and he's got to sort of go through it with everybody. I mean, he's had 6 court cases against newspapers and the Home Office, and he's just carrying on. But the judge is furious and has demanded those notes back. And apparently some of them went through the King's secretaries. And if Harry doesn't do it himself, then it's going to go towards the King. And he has to try and get them out and send them to the court. Now, this is hugely embarrassing, hugely difficult. He doesn't need this with the strain that he's under at the moment. And I hope that it's sorted out quickly. But the fact that this might go to His Majesty when he's got so many other things to worry about, including his own health and the health of his much-loved daughter-in-law, Princess Catherine, it'll be just dreadful.
Well, indeed. But also, why on earth would Harry want to put himself through this? You've got to actually be quite a troubled individual to choose to live your life fighting these courtroom battles. Yeah. The problem is, though, Angela, when it comes to the specifics of this case, the reason Judge Fancourt appears to be so angry is because the writing of the autobiography Spare took place during the course of the litigation.
Yes.
So there's absolutely no excuse for Harry to have destroyed these thousands and thousands of messages. And his lawyer tries to say, oh, well, it's because of confidentiality. But that doesn't stand in a civil court, Angela. That doesn't stand. Harry, look, when it comes to the emails, for example, on his old Hotmail accounts from years and years ago, okay, maybe there's some sort of argument that he didn't know he was going to enter into the civil action, so for security reasons they had to be deleted. But there is no excuse for the messages with the author of Spare. And imagine all of the content that would have been in those messages, and they are all gone. David Chilborn has actually admitted that Harry deleted the messages.
Yes. Well, the interesting thing is that Harry is quite naive. And the fact is that when you are a member of the royal family, you have everything done for you. People make your arrangements. People run errands for you all the time. So it's very difficult for him to come out of that and then make sense of these difficulties he's had. Instead of that, he's just tried to sort of hide it under the table, isn't it? But in a dramatic way that you never see it again. This is what people do when they're terrified, but they won't admit things and accept looking very foolish. So I think that's the underlying behavior of him, that he just can't bear the fact. Because if he wins, hooray, he's got money from the Home Office and he's got the protection that he wants and everything's fine. And he's thrown away things that will make that more difficult.
The thing is, Angela, it wasn't just the messages between the ghostwriter of Spare, though. There was this other extraordinary moment in court where there was the discussion about 2 hard drives that Harry and Harry's lawyers had previously claimed had disappeared. He said they didn't exist. And in court, Harry had to admit, oh, lo and behold, we've now found the hard drives. One of them is in their mansion in Montecito. The other is with his attorney in California, in his attorney's office. So, look, I've got to be careful. We don't know. Maybe there is some sort of rational explanation for this, but I can't understand how, if Harry had handed the hard drives over to his lawyers already, he could be telling a court in the UK that they had disappeared. I'm sorry, Angela, this stinks. It stinks to me like it's a cover-up.
Well, as you say, we have to be careful, and we don't really know. But it has made it difficult to move on and sort things out in a proper legal way. I think anybody who tries to hide things and then suddenly finds them again. I remember Meghan with her father, she forgot something about the court case, and then suddenly she did remember it after all. And it's not a good way.
I just forgot. Look, they are using legal warfare. And as you say, they are using legal warfare to try and shut down freedom of the press in the UK. Personally, I think it stinks. If you were going to go down that path, and remember, and I've fully prepared to talk about this, he's tried it with me. He tried to drag me into one of these civil court actions, and it was based on lies.
Angela Levin begins by discussing the controversy surrounding Prince Harry receiving the Pat Tillman Award from ESPN. The host explains that Pat Tillman is remembered as an American hero who left behind a successful NFL career to serve his country following the September 11th attacks. Levin notes that criticism intensified after Tillman's mother publicly questioned why Harry had been selected over military veterans and community figures who have dedicated their lives to helping others. This sets the stage for a broader discussion about Harry's public image and whether he deserves the honors he continues to receive. The conversation shifts to Harry and Meghan's history of accepting high-profile awards. Levin argues that the couple appear eager to collect accolades that help reinforce their public status and reputation. She references previous awards that generated controversy and suggests that critics often question whether Harry's accomplishments truly justify such recognition. According to Levin, these honors are viewed by some as part of a broader effort to improve the couple's popularity and influence. However, she believes the strategy frequently backfires because many members of the public remain unconvinced. The conversation explores why Harry continues to stand firmly beside Meghan despite ongoing criticism and speculation about their relationship. Levin believes Harry fell deeply in love early in the relationship and remains emotionally committed. She suggests that he feels a strong obligation to support Meghan and prove his devotion to her. While some observers question the future of the marriage, Levin argues that Harry remains determined to make the relationship work and continues to place Meghan's needs above his own. Attention then turns to Prince Harry's ongoing legal campaign against sections of the British media. The host discusses allegations that surfaced during court proceedings involving news group newspapers, including claims that Harry may have deleted significant amounts of evidence relevant to the case. The discussion notes that legal actions of this scale place both sides under scrutiny and that questions surrounding evidence preservation have become a major issue in the proceedings. In the final segment, Levin addresses Harry's broader campaign against the media. She argues that Harry views reforming press practices as one of his life's major missions and remains committed to pursuing legal challenges despite the controversies surrounding them. However, she questions whether these efforts are helping him rebuild his reputation or further deepening divisions with the public and the royal family. The discussion concludes by reflecting on the contrast between the popular prince many once admired and the far more controversial figure Harry has become today. The interview ultimately presents Angela Levin's view that Prince Harry has undergone a dramatic personal transformation since leaving royal life and marrying Meghan Markle. While she acknowledges the positive qualities she once saw in him, Levin argues that years of controversy, legal battles, public disputes, and personal choices have left him increasingly isolated. Whether audiences agree with her conclusions or not, The discussion highlights the continuing fascination surrounding Prince Harry's evolving role on the world stage and his uncertain relationship with both the royal family and the public.